How's it going, everyone? Data here, and welcome back to the Pittsburgh Penguins franchise mode, episode number 15, headed into the 2027 postseason here in year number 4. In the last one, it was an incredible season as we captured our second President's Trophy in as many years, and just the third President's Trophy in Penguins history. We had a record of 57, 20, and 5 to sit atop the NHL. Incredible goals for, goals against, special teams, everything was clicking, and it was an MVP-calibre season from Leon Draisaitl, who won the Rocket Richard, the Art Ross, and you would think also the Hart and the Ted Lindsay. 112 points, 56 goals. What a year from Draisaitl. Alex DeBrincat had an incredible career year as well, scoring 40 goals and 100 points. Crosby and Malkin both turned back the clock. Morrissey was great. Gensel was good. Lundstrom was incredible as third-line center, scoring over 50 points. Ekblad, career year, I believe, or at least his best as a Penguin. Catton, sophomore season, not too shabby. Ty Smith, career year at 35 points. Erik Karlsson, great through 48 games. He was injured for a lot of the season, still scoring 30 points. DiMaio, 21-goal rookie season, and the rest of the lineup, including Ryan Graves, were quite impressive. Graves, we picked him up at the trade deadline, mostly filling in for Erik Karlsson, and through 56 games, he had 17 points and was a plus 25. So I think we're looking very good lineup-wise headed into the postseason. Our biggest question, though, has been the goaltending, as Mackenzie Blackwood has always been our starter. He got us to our Stanley Cup last year. He got us to the Stanley Cup final the year before. He won the Vezina, but he missed a lot of the season due to injury, and Joel Blomqvist filled in and won 33 games. On top of that, although he only played in 49 games, he has some of the best numbers in the league and would likely be getting Vezina votes, if not winning the Vezina trophy this season. .916 save percentage and 2.51 goals against average. So our biggest question has been, do we go with the player who has been here and done it before and has also shown himself to simulate well in the past, or with the goaltender who just, to put it honestly, has the better numbers right now in also the larger sample size? On top of the goaltending question, we're also dealing with some injuries headed into the postseason. Last episode was called Injury Bug for good reason, and we head into the postseason with 3 injuries after being plagued with them throughout the year. Ty Smith will be, today is April 19th, by the way. Ty Smith will be back May 1st, so he will likely miss most of, if not the entire first round. Not the end of the world because we do have the depth to compensate, but Ty Smith was having a career year. Sidney Crosby got injured in game number 82. If I remember correctly, he's only out for about a week, so I think he may miss maybe, I think it's games 3, up until game 3 or 4 of the first round, but we'll still have to do without him until then. Lundstrom, I can't remember exactly when his injury was until. I believe it was just a little bit longer than Crosby, maybe again, kind of like the whole first round type of thing. But just to say, through the first 2, 3, 4 games of the postseason, we'll be missing out on point per game plus Sidney Crosby, second line center, our 50-plus point third line center, and our 35-point third pair D-man. So that's a lot of points right there out of the lineup. When we look at our lines here, there are a few suggestions in the comments on what we could do. I think what would probably make the most sense is moving Gensel off of the top line. Gensel is a sniper, but he was playing with 2 goal scorers on that top line. He, in recent years has scored 30, 24 goals. This season, 19 goals. Not horrible, but way less than he's used to. Shooting at a lower percentage. Maybe let's play Gensel on the second line. Let's put Evgeny Malkin as second line center as a playmaker. And then the pure playmaking ability of Berkeley Catton can come up to the first line, maintain the +5, and hopefully he can dish the puck with his 99 passing to Draisaitl and DeBrincat. So Jake Neighbors will draw into the lineup, and I will also go ahead and call up, last episode I totally forgot that we had sent down Noel Nord, so we can just call him up. Here he is, 78 overall. Noel Nord ended up playing, I think, 48 games? Yeah, 48 games. He scored 8 goals and had 9 points as a fourth liner. 5 of his 8 goals were game winners. That's crazy. So Noel Nord will get called back up and placed into the lineup, and with Jake Neighbors there, we'll survive, but yeah, tough injuries. On defense, I think we're pretty much okay because Zadorov can play third pair with the rookie Owen Pickering. If and when Smith comes back, I think Pickering is the one who will have to leave the lineup as the one with the least amount of experience. But we'll wait and see what happens between now and then. Who knows what other voodoo injuries may pop up. So I'll deal with the lineup here, make a few changes, and then we'll dive into the comments. Alright, and here we have it. I believe these will be our lines headed into the beginning of the postseason. Catton, Draisaitl, DeBrincat on the first, Gensel, Malkin, and Rust on the second. Zucker, DiMaio, and Robinson. We just picked him up in free agency. He had a great first year as a Penguin. He was still able to produce in a fourth line role 22 points and a plus 16 while averaging only 7:49 of ice time per night. So he'll get third line minutes, and then Neighbors, Smith, and Nord will be the fourth line. Some inspiration was taken from Vinny's comment, as Vinny said maybe Catton or Rust could move up to the second line and then move Robinson up to the third since he had a decent regular season. Then we can grab a replacement level guy from the minors. Ended up being Nord until Crosby and Lundstrom can come back. Great video data, and go Pens go. Thank you, Vinny. Similar thoughts over in Cheating Heels comment, jumping down to the lineup thoughts, as Cheating Heels said, as far as lineup goes, I think we have no choice but to move DiMaio and Malkin to center. Two guys who've been playing wing, now they go center. Not sure what DiMaio's defense looks like, so maybe we're better off putting him as second center and having Malkin as third line center. So we'll check that in a second. DiMaio can have Catton and Rust, who usually perform better in the playoffs, as his wings, while Malkin can have Neighbors and Robinson. I actually put Zucker instead of Neighbors because it gives the line the +1. Another option, although I prefer not to mess with the first line, could be to put Catton with Draisaitl and DeBrincat in the hopes it gets him going and have DiMaio play with two vets like Gensel and Rust on the second line. Whoever had the best performance in the AHL gets called up, ended up being Nord, and with the season you had, rabid fans will accept nothing less than a cup repeat, so choose wisely. Go Pens. Thank you, Cheating Heel. So Malkin's defense, it's definitely going down at 40 years of age. 3 stars, 75 face-offs, 78 shot blocking, 78 stick checking, but still 86 defensive awareness. DiMaio, meanwhile, has 82 defensive awareness and slightly higher shot blocking and stick checking, and slightly higher face-offs, but it definitely is Malkin who has the awareness. I think I lean leaving DiMaio in the third line role. I like that he's a bit faster, and I do like that he has the stick checking and all that going on, while Malkin has the higher defensive awareness, but probably won't be doing much shot blocking or anything out there if he's playing second line. On that second pair, you got Ryan Graves blocking shots. He's a bit slower as well. He has Gensel, who's faster on his wing, 89 acceleration and speed. I think I see this working as it is right now. We could always swap things around, but it would take away the chemistry on the second line. Yes, chemistry does often go out the window if things aren't going well, but I think we're okay like this to start the postseason. More of the same from T-Bonds, who left their first ever comment. Welcome to the AGM booth. T-Bond said, what an injury-plagued season. Been watching for a long time, but haven't commented. Well, great to hear from you. I think the problem with Berkeley Catton was that we were playing him alongside other playmakers in Crosby and Malkin. When you put him down with Lundstrom on the third line or up on the first line when Gensel was injured, he was shining and he started to put up better numbers. I think if the team needs a small change during the playoffs, maybe switch Catton with either DeBrincat or Gensel to have a finisher on the second line who can work with Crosby and Malkin's excellent playmaking ability, while having a player who is more focused on passing with Draisaitl and either DeBrincat or Gensel. Either way, love the series and your channel. Keep up the great content. Well, thank you, T-Bonds. I think that's exactly the thinking behind what I'm going to be starting off the postseason with right here. Catton has faltered in the past, and last postseason he did not look good. In our run to the Stanley Cup, he had 2 goals and 3 points. It was a -5 through 19 games. Granted, he had way less ice time at 13 minutes per night than what was he averaging this season? 15-11, couple of minutes less. Okay, a lot of fourth line minutes in there as well. But I'm hoping that the 99 passing will carry. So thank you, T-Bonds. That's what we're going to be starting it off with, Gensel on the second line. Now, final thoughts before we get into the beginning of the postseason about the goaltenders. I think the consensus is that Blomqvist should be the starter. Josh left a comment saying, I think Blomqvist has to get the playoff start to complement his near Vezina season. What a crazy injury-plagued season. Good luck in the post. And look out for those Avs in the Western Conference. They slowed down in the second half, but we know they're a dangerous team. Thank you, Josh. They were dominating the first half. They slowed down a little bit, but still finished atop the Western Conference. Fresh Bread says, I would go Blackwood, but if he falters, definitely go with Blomqvist. Great video as always. Thank you for adding your thoughts, Fresh Bread. Louis Mallard says, I'd start Blomqvist because he is dialed in right now. And Scott also says, yes, Blomqvist should be the starter. Goalies are unpredictable, but consider Blomqvist currently has the better stats and larger play time, and he's young, and it's only logical to roll with him and slowly drive Blackwood out. Also part of Scott's comment saying, Catton struggling is baffling me at the moment. He has never not simmed well for me, so hopefully with him being on the first line, that will change. Now, I don't think we're necessarily trying to drive Blackwood out even sooner rather than later. He still has 2 years left on his deal. He's won a Vezina. He was runner-up for the Conn Smythe last year. Blackwood has been amazing. He has simulated so well. But if Blomqvist is going to show himself to have the better numbers right now, even if we're not saying that Blomqvist is our starter of the future, even if we do move him in 1 or 2 years, I still don't think that removes the fact that right here, right now, we need the goaltender who's simulating better. That could change after 1 or 2 games. You never know in EA land, but I think Blomqvist will be our starter to at least start the postseason. He played parts of 3 postseason games 2 years ago, going 0-3-0, 898 save percentage and 4.17 goals against average. I believe, had Blackwood gotten injured, was that it? No, I think those 3 appearances were just coming in relief when Blackwood had gotten pulled because he had played 24 games and carried us to the Stanley Cup final. So back-to-back years of Blackwood carrying us to the final. He has a .918 save percentage through 52 games in the postseason in his career. 33-15-0 with 4 shutouts. All 4 of those shutouts coming over the last 2 postseasons. I think that probably for the first time in a very long time, my starter's leash is very short, not because of the starter himself, but because of the level of skill of the backup. I think that's how we're thinking about it headed into game 1. But like I've said a lot of times now, a lot can change in the postseason. You really never know. Here in round number 1, we will be facing the Ottawa Senators, a team that we have yet to face in this franchise mode series. We saw their team briefly last episode, but here's a reminder for who we're up against. The first line of Brady Tkachuk, Tim Stützle, and Rickard Rakell, former Pittsburgh Penguin. On the second line, it's Nicolas Aubé-Kubel with Josh Norris and Ridley Greg. Third line, Tyler Boucher, Shane Pinto, and Alex Formenton. And the fourth line is Dennis Gurianov, Tyler Madden, franchise mode legend, and Warren Foegele. Defensively, they have a top pair of Shabbat and Sanderson. Crazy stuff right there. Second pair, it looks like Chikrin's gone, so it's Klingberg and Lassie Thompson. And on the third pair, it's Eric Brandstrom and Tyson Barrie. Between the pipes, former Penguin Aiden Hill, backed up by Dennis Hildeby. No injuries there for the Senators, so this is their lineup. I like their forward depth. I think the right wing especially, is a little bit weak. Like overall, having all 82s here is nice. I'd rather have someone bigger, like a bigger name on that first line. Rickard Rakell did score 54 points. Okay, that's not too bad. But you'd think with 90 overall Stützle and 89 overall Brady Tkachuk, you'd want someone a bit better on the right wing. Stützle had 70 points and Tkachuk had 70 as well this season. Kind of like the finisher and the playmaker 1 and 2 here, and Rakell's just along for the ride maybe. Not sure. But this is the Ottawa Senators squad of 2026-27 that we're up against here in round number 1. And they'll be wanting to make a name for themselves here against the reigning Stanley Cup champions, back-to-back President's Trophy winners. They may think it's time for the future to take over, but you know what? This team still wants another cup, even though we got one last year. Evgeny Malkin at 40 years of age would love a 5th ring. Crosby would love a 5th ring. Erik Karlsson came to Pittsburgh to get that Stanley Cup. He wants his first championship at 36 years of age. A lot of these other guys, Ekblad, Morrissey, DeBrincat, they'd all love a 2nd Stanley Cup as well. And of course, Leon Draisaitl winning the Conn Smythe. On an MVP-calibre season, I think a Stanley Cup championship would just be icing on the cake. So ladies and gentlemen, game 1, round 1 in Pittsburgh. Let's hit it. As per usual, this video is over an hour and a half long so that it won't be spoiled. If it does end up happening that we're eliminated early, it'll just be a black screen at the end of the video for however amount of time it has to be. So I would appreciate you just letting that run in the background if you could. But I'm reacting live with you. I don't want to spoil anything. Here we go. Round 1, game 1 at PPG Paints Arena, and the Senators are up 2-1 after 20. Shane Pinto scores on the power play to open things up, and then Rickard Rakell even strength after we called him out, the former Penguin, who was a part of the DeBrincat deal, and Alex DeBrincat scores against his old team to stop the bleeding. I forgot to mention that. DeBrincat against his old team, that 3-team trade that brought DeBrincat to Pittsburgh and sent Rakell to Ottawa. Yeah, all right, 2-1 after 20 as the former players score against their old teams here. Second period, 4-4, high-scoring period. Leon Draisaitl ties it up. A minute later, Formenton restores the lead. Then 3 minutes after that, Shabbat restores the 2-goal lead. But Rust and Gensel, that second line, they scored 2 goals in the final 5 minutes to tie this game back up. Shots are 22-18 after 40, and we're tied at 4 heading into the third and final period. And Eric Robinson, up on that third line now, scores his first postseason goal as a Penguin. Draisaitl gets his second on the power play. Now we are up by 2. Make that up by 3 as Draisaitl completes the hat trick in under 50 minutes. Down by 2, up by 3. Make it up by 4. Evgeny Malkin 8-4 Penguins. How about this? Shaking off the rust a little bit here in game number 1 and getting right back into it. Down 2-0, down 4-2. We end up winning 8-4 the final. How about that for a statement in game number 1? 3 stars in this one. Draisaitl, 3 goals and an assist. Geno Malkin, 40 years old, a goal and 3 assists. And Brian Rust, who loves to show up in the postseason, a goal and 3 assists from him as well. 8-4 Penguins, ladies and gentlemen. How about that for a Game 1 victory? We just want to get this series over ASAP so that we can get everyone back to being healthy. I want to play as few games as possible without having our fully healthy lineup. So an 8-4 win is great, but we got to expect Ottawa to come back now. They won 44 games for a reason. They have a good top line. They have a strong defensive core. I doubt they're going to let us do that again, as they got embarrassed in Pittsburgh in game number 1. They had the lead. This time they're trying to get it again and not let it slide. First period of game number 2, and the Senators are up. Brady Tkachuk scores on the power play. Blomqvist also hadn't mentioned he didn't look great in game number 1, allowing 4 on not enough shots to make it make sense for me. But thankfully we scored 8 and it didn't really matter. But that can't happen every night, Joel. Come on now. Second period, 2-2. 2-2. My apologies. Evgeny Malkin scores on the power play to tie it up. Then 19 seconds later, Stützle scores to restore the Ottawa lead. Then Aaron Ekblad scores his first of the postseason to tie this game up at 2. Headed into the third period, shots are 21-17 for Ottawa, and we are all tied up. Power play, Pittsburgh. Obi Kubel scores shorthanded. Oh, wow, that's brutal. Power play, Penguins again to get it back. No! Power play, Senators, we kill that off. Second half of the third period now, being outshot 30-24 with about 5 minutes to go. Down by 1. Do we have late heroics? And yes, we do from Alex DeBrincat. Will it be enough with 2 minutes to go to push it to overtime? Yes, it will. Late goal from Alex DeBrincat with just about 3 minutes to go against his old team. We're being outshot 31-26, but we're all tied up at 3 thanks to the Cat, and we're headed to overtime. Overtime here in Pittsburgh. A goal for the Penguins will put them up in this series 2-0 headed back to Ottawa. A goal for the Senators will tie this series at 1 and make it a best of 5. Tkachuk just walking in. Stopped by Blomqvist. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it will not be as ugly of AI gameplay as it was last postseason, which was literal torture. Stützle shielding the puck. Catton breaks it up, though. Now here comes Draisaitl the other way. Leon Draisaitl, a little move there. All right, still has it. Windmill over nobody. And Catton 1 times on a puck that was not there. Raquel behind the net. Ridley scores! What in the world was that? No angle. Pass from behind the net from Raquel, and Ridley Gregg gets a weird goal as Blomqvist wasn't hugging the post, I suppose. Let me see that again. Let's see it right here. What a weird play. Blomqvist, where were you, buddy? Let's see. Where was the rest of the team, by the way? Greg just walks in. Who's this? This is DeBrincat just skating the opposite direction, trying to get his man at the point. Ekblad just not covering him at all. So Ridley Gregg gets the puck right here. Not much room to shoot. Where does he even get through here? Oh my goodness. Blomqvist, buddy, come on. Wow. Okay. All right, Senators win it in overtime. Shots in this one ended 33-26, and we'll now have a best of 5 in round number 1. So a tough loss there in overtime at home. The Senators want revenge for the 2017 Eastern Conference Final. Forgot to mention that. I think it's the last time that the Penguins played the Senators, when the Penguins beat them in Game 7 double overtime, and they went on to win the 2017 Stanley Cup. So the Senators get a little bit of revenge, at least the first step towards revenge, with that overtime winner in Pittsburgh to tie this series at 1. Now, Blomqvist, even aside from being out of position on that goal, what are the numbers looking like here, buddy? .849 save percentage through 2 games, and our only win came because we scored 8 goals when he allowed 4. Back-to-back games of allowing 4 goals. You know what? I think I'm going Blackwood. I think we have to at least see what Blackwood's got for us. After leading us to 2 Stanley Cup finals in a row, Blomqvist wasn't horrible, but 4 goals against, 8 in 2 games. Let's see what Blackwood's got here. On the road at Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa. Game 3, round 1. Let's put ourselves back in the driver's seat. We know that we can do it. Hopefully maybe a little bit more confidence with Blackwood between the pipes then. I don't know. Let's go. First period, Ottawa Senators score early, like the first shot of the night, Tyler Madden, franchise mode postseason legend, opens it up 27 seconds in. Gensel ties it up. Ricard Raquel on the power play restores the Ottawa lead, but then Russ ties it with 12 seconds left in the period. That is clutch. 13 to 10 of the shots for Ottawa through 20. Second period now. No, my apologies. Yes, a goal apiece. I thought it was no scoring, but a goal apiece. Ryan Graves scores shorthanded. Of all the players to score, and shorthanded no less, it's Ryan Graves. Shane Pinto ties it up with 2:34 to go, and we're all tied up once again. Headed into the third period. Shots 21-19 in our favor. Power play early for the Penguins. Killed off. Power play now for the Senators. Killed off as well. First 5 minutes in. Power play apiece. No scoring. Greg, the game winner in Game 2. Now the go-ahead goal in Game 3. And Josh Norris makes it a 2-goal lead. 5 goals on 25 shots on Mackenzie Blackwood. My goodness. Wow, we score 3 on 27, which is good. Gensel adds 1 more late. 4 on 29. That's nice. But we can't be allowing more than 3. We scored 8 goals, 3 goals, 4 goals. The goals are coming. Gensel 2 goals and an assist. Rust a goal and 2 assists. But I don't know what's up with the goaltending here. That's 13 goals against in 2 games. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. 4, 4, and 5 goals against. We got to look at doing something with the lines as well. I don't think it's just the goaltending. How are the plus minuses looking out here? +2 on the first line, -1s there. +2s on the second line, +4. Robinson, -2, -1. No crazy plus minuses, actually. No crazy plus minuses. +4, +6, -2, -3 on the second pair. And Erik Karlsson yet to do anything. Yikes. Pickering, -2. We're missing Ty Smith out here. Should we look to do something like this? A Graves-Zadorov second pair? Karlsson third pair plus power play and the +1 on the second and third? Maybe that would work for us defensively. Let's go Graves-Zadorov on the second, Pickering, Karlsson on the third. Maybe it's not as good to stack our defensive presences together, but let's try just changing something up here. Blackwood, .821 save percentage, and Blomqvist, .849. I'm not sure where to turn, honestly. I guess we go back to Blomqvist. That was tough. Blackwood really let me down in that one. But who knows for Game 4 or Game 5 might be back and going to Blackwood. Let's also advance to the next game. Maybe we'll get someone healed and back to health? Not yet. Hopefully for Game 5. But now here we are in Game 4. I think this is the first time that we're down in a series in a very long time. Down 2-1 in Ottawa, looking to tie the series back up, make it a best of 3, headed back to Pittsburgh with hopefully Sidney Crosby at least in the lineup. Fingers crossed. First period, 2-0 Penguins early. This is what we want to be seeing. And finally, some power play goals. Some more power play goals at least. DiMaio and DeBrincat both scoring on the power play about 14 minutes apart from each other. Shots tied at 9 and we're up 2-0 after 20. Second period, 3-1. Jake Neighbors scores. There you go, 3-0. Then Obi Kubel scores about a minute and a half after that. Minute 50 actually. And we once again have a 2-goal lead headed into another period. Shots are 20-18 for the Senators, but we're up by 2. Power play, Penguins killed off. Another power play killed off once again. Ridley, man. Ridley scores again for the Senators. And we have an extended power play that once again goes nowhere. We score now a 5-on-3 for Ottawa. That's killed off. My goodness. We can't get anything going aside from 2 power play goals in the first period. We're hanging on to a 1-goal lead. Power play again late. And it's going to be Jason Zucker with an empty net goal. Thank goodness. Shots end 37-27. We only scored 3 goals on Aiden Hill. 4 including the empty netter, and we win this one 4-2 to tie the series back up. DiMaio had a goal and an assist. That was too close for my liking, but Blomqvist did impress. Sheesh, it's the special teams though. The special teams. Maybe, hopefully Crosby back for this next game. We can get him in the lineup. Fingers crossed, and yes he is. Sidney Crosby is back to full health, so that will likely bump Nord out of the lineup. Because Neighbors just scored in that last game. 1 goal +1. Nord, no assists, even plus/minus, 1 minor penalty. So Nord will come out of the lineup. Crosby will come back in. Zucker, goal and assist, -1. I don't know, probably Robinson goes back to the 4th. I'll see how it works with the chemistry. But that will, and even Russ probably comes back down. No, Russ has been really good. I'll see what I can conjure up. Alright, so this wasn't what I thought the lines would look like when Crosby came back, but let's try it like this. Brian Russ has been playmaking like crazy. 6 assists and 8 points in 4 games. Let's play him on the top line with Draisaitl and DeBrincat. Only a +2 as opposed to a +5, but let's go with the hot hands as opposed to just living and dying by chemistry. Second line, Malkin, Crosby, and Gensel. Hopefully a lot of playmaking for Gensel being the finisher. Then down on the third line, DeMaio, who is a pure shooter, can play with a pure passer in Berkeley Catton. So Catton, although he's been doing well, 3 assists in 4 games, he will bring some of that playmaking ability to the bottom 6, which has been struggling a little bit. Then the fourth line, Zucker, Smith, and Neighbors for the moment until Lundstrom gets back. Defense does not change. Blomqvist will continue to start, and there you have it. So we survived a little bit of a scare there. Did not want to go down 3-1. This series is tied up at 2. It's a best of 3, and the next 2 of 3 games will be in Pittsburgh. So at least we have that if it goes the distance. Game 5 at PPG Paints Arena with the captain, Sidney Crosby, at 39 years of age, back in the lineup. First period, 2-0 Ottawa. Chabot and Pinto. 2 goals on 8 shots. We have nothing on 14. Oh, second period now. 2-2, thank you very much. Leon Draisaitl on the power play with Crosby back on that first unit. And Jason Zucker, all right, down on that third line. That fourth line now, sorry. He still has some life. Shots 24-15. We are just hammering and peppering that Senators net. Aiden Hill getting bombarded, and we take a 2-2 tie into the third period, just like the 2-2 series. Power play Pittsburgh killed off by the Senators, but then Jason Zucker scores his second of the game. Power play Ottawa, Thomas Chabot also gets his second of the game. Power play Penguins and Josh Morrissey re-gifts us the lead. Power play Ottawa is killed off, and then Jake Neighbors makes it 5-3 Penguins. It's his second goal of the postseason. What a back and forth couple periods that was. And we end up coming away with a 5-3 victory. Shots and 35-21. Tough save percentage again, but the goal scoring saves us. 2 goals from Jason Zucker and a goal and an assist from both Draisaitl and Neighbors. We can't rely on that every night. What is going on? Blomqvist with an 857 save percentage. Come on now. But thankfully, we do take a 3-2 lead in the series now, winning 2 games after we lost 1-1, lost 2, 1-2. Will Lundstrom be back to full health? Actually, Ty Smith is even back. Hold on a second. That's probably a playable injury for Ty Smith. Lundstrom also playable injury at the moment. But hang on a second. So Noel Nord will go back down since he doesn't have to go through waivers, and we don't need him at the moment. So he'll go down. But will Lundstrom or Smith be healthy for this next game? Yes, Lundstrom is fully healthy. Very good. But I don't know who comes out now because Neighbors has been looking solid. Maybe it's Robinson? Let's see Neighbors. 2 goals and an assist with a +3 so far in 5 games. Robinson, a goal and an assist. He hasn't been horrible. -1. Smith, 2 assists. Zucker, 3 goals and an assist. I would think it's probably Robinson, at least for right now. Let's give Neighbors at least another game or 2 to keep proving himself, maybe. But that allows us to not have to make any more lineup changes. Robinson can just come out and Lundstrom comes in, allowing the fourth line to stay as is, and then better face-offs at 80 face-offs. So Lundstrom goes back to third line center, and it'll be DeMaio, Lundstrom, and Catton getting a +2 on the third line. So I'll just fix up the special teams, then we'll continue. All right, so we are good to go. The only thing that we're missing is Ty Smith back in the lineup. Still a playable injury, so we don't want to risk it. When he comes back, you would think he probably replaces Owen Pickering, but we will evaluate then. For now, Pickering has another game in the lineup. Lundstrom, coming off of a career year. We got him off waivers a couple of years ago. Played a season in the AHL. His second full year with the Penguins, and he scored 51 points as our third-line center. 15:08 of ice time on average per night. He was eating it up. He got a great opportunity, and he ran with it. He's back to full health. Let's see what he and Crosby can do in our middle 6 center core right there. Game 6 here at Canadian Tire Center, looking to close it out here in game number 6 and not have to push it to a game 7 back at home. This Senators team is resilient. We know them. Power play early, of course. So let's just end them before we have any more trouble. Don't give them the chance to get back into it. First period, 0-0. Only 3 shots. The Senators quadrupling our shots, 12-3 through 20 minutes. 3 shots in 20 minutes. That is ridiculous. Let's wake up in the second period now. Second period, 1-1. Rickard Rakell, of course, he's been just eating us up, carving us in this first-round matchup. He scores to open it up. And Malkin ties it up about 11 minutes after that. Shot 16-12 after 40, a low-shooting affair, and Rickard Rakell scores his second of the night 29 seconds in to give Ottawa the lead. And then Guryanov down on the fourth line. 3 goals on 21 shots. You're killing me, Blomqvist. You're absolutely killing me. 5-on-3, 5-on-4 goes to nothing. Power play, Ottawa killed off. Halfway through the third period, we're down by 2. It's not too late, but no one seems to have any passion in them. Let's just let it go to 7. We've been here before. Yeah, let's go to 7. No problem. Let's go to 7. 4 goals on 27 shots. Blomqvist, man. You are killing me. Rickard Rakell scores 2, and we drop Game 6 4-1. Our worst game of the season, of the entire postseason yet. That is crazy. 1 goal scored. Ty Smith back to full health. At least for Game 7, we're back to a full lineup, but that is crazy. Before I even make any line changes, let's just get this out of the way. Blomqvist, you're done. You're done, buddy. 867 save percentage through 5 starts. I don't care if Blackwood did terrible in his 1 start. I'm giving him Game 7. I'm giving Game 7 to Blackwood. Now, Ty Smith, if he comes into the lineup, Morrissey, of course, yeah, tough plus minus. I was hoping for more from him, but he's not coming out of the lineup. Ekblad isn't. Graves isn't. Zadorov, I don't think he is. Pickering, 1 assist, 2 minor penalties, -1. Carlson, 3 assists, -3. I'm going to go with the scoring and the lower penalty factor, I suppose, and go for Ty Smith to come back in the lineup. He scored 35 points this year, +2 with Carlson. Yeah, let's keep it like this. Yeah, Graves, Zadorov, Smith, Carlson. That's a stacked third pair. It's not going to get better than that. But I have to think, what are the forwards doing here after scoring only 1 goal and 3 shots in that first period? No points for Rust in his 2 games on the first line. Crosby, has he done anything? 1 assist. -4! That second line has to change, I guess, eh? That's crazy. Maybe we go back to Gensel on the top line, even though it will reduce his scoring factor. It just brings the star power, and he can still pass that puck very well. Rust plays second line with Crosby and Malkin as he did for most of the season, or at least in the past. And does Catton stay third line? 3 assists, still no points since he's moved down there. Lundstrom had an assist in his first game back. DeMaio, goal and 2 assists. These are tough calls. Game 7, everything goes out the window in Game 7. Can Zucker go here? Keeps a +1. Yeah, Zucker's going third line with Lundstrom and Catton. Second line, Malkin, Crosby, Rust. First line, DeBrincat, Draisaitl, Gensel. Blackwood between the pipes. Jaeger also back in the AHL, so make a quick fix there. Actually, I think we got eliminated in the AHL, so yeah, it doesn't even really matter. Yeah, no, we didn't even make the playoffs. Okay. All right, so it all comes down to this. May 1st, 2027 in Pittsburgh. We've been to Game 7 overtime against the Senators before. Last time, it was double overtime victory for Chris Kunitz and the Pens to go to the 2017 Cup Final and win it. Now it's just to get through to round number 2 as the President's Trophy winners against this resilient Ottawa squad. Blackwood between the pipes. We're back to full strength for the first time this entire postseason. Gentlemen, the stage is yours. First period, 2-1 Pittsburgh. Evgeny Malkin on the second line with Brian Rust back on it. And Isaac Lundstrom on that third line. A goal and an assist now in 2 games back. Very good. But then Josh Norris answers Lundstrom 22 seconds after his goal. Shots are 15-10 for the Senators through 20 minutes. But we hold the 2-1 lead. Controller down, Game 7. Let's go. Ryan Graves, his second goal of the series. His other goal came shorthanded. Even strength goal. And Alex DeBrincat against his old team. He hadn't scored since the first couple of games. And Evgeny Malkin makes it 5-1. The floodgates are open on Aiden Hill, scoring 5 goals on 16. Make it 6 on 17. And then make it 7 on 18. As Catton scores another, as Hildeby lets in 2 goals in the first, 2 shots that he sees. 7-2 Penguins, a 5-goal second period. My goodness. And that's a hat trick for Evgeny Malkin after just 6 seconds past the halfway point in this game. 40-year-old Evgeny Malkin has a hat trick. Heading into the third period, we're being outshot 23-18, but we have 7 goals and 18 shots, and we're up by 5 in Game 7. Just about ready to book those tickets to round number 2. Nothing going through the first half. Power play Penguins. Power play goal from DeBrincat. Is that a hat trick now for DeBrincat? Yes, hat trick for DeBrincat. No, not a hat trick. That's just 2, I think. But Josh Norris gets his second. Sorry that I can't keep track when we score 8 goals. 8-3, Penguins the final. Ladies and gentlemen, we are through to round number 2. It took a few nails to be bitten off, but we made it. Shots and 30-28 for the Senators, but we come away with that huge second period and enough to win 8-3. Malkin scores 3 goals and an assist for first star honors. DeBrincat had 2 goals and an assist, and Lundstrom 1 goal and 2 assists. Welcome back to him. 8-3 Penguins the final, and we are through to round number 2, just barely. And thank you to Mackenzie Blackwood. Not the craziest outing, but only allows 3, and that gives us a bit more confidence than in previous games where I guess 4, 5, 6 were going in. Before we check out our round number 2 matchup, let's see the point scoring through those first 7 games. Evgeny Malkin scored 6 goals and 11 points in 7 games. Draisaitl also quietly scored 11 points as well. We knew he was doing well, but I didn't know he was scoring 11 and 7. -3, unfortunately, but 11 and 7 for Draisaitl and Gino. Brian Rust, 10 points for him. 8 points in the first, 4 games? Then 2 games of nothing, and then 2 points in game 7, I would think. DeBrincat, 5 goals and 9 points through 7. Aaron Ekblad, point per game. Gensel with 5. Catton with 5. Zucker with 4. Lundstrom, 4 points in 2 games back. Morrissey, 4 and 7. Neighbors with 3. DiMaio, 3. Crosby, 3 points in 3 games since he's been back. -2, though. Carlson, 3 points. Graves, 2 goals with a +2. Robinson, 2 and 5. Zadorov, 2 assists and a +4 in that first round. Smith, also same stat line, 2 assists and a +4. Pickering had 1 assist and was a -1. And Ty Smith, in his first game back, played 14:35 of ice time and had zeros across the board. We can take that. Goaltending now. It was up and down. Blomqvist ends 3-1-1 with an .867 save percentage and 3.39 goals against, while Blackwood ends 1-1-0 with an .862 save percentage and 4.04 goals against. Now, of course, Blackwood was in for one terrible start and one so-so start. I think Blomqvist was the one who was more consistently meh, as opposed to Blackwood, who was really bad and then pretty good. So we'll take all that into consideration headed into round number 2. Let's rest up as much as we can headed into this next matchup. There's not a lot of rest because in round number 2, we will be facing the Carolina Hurricanes. Just 1 day of rest, and now we're hosting the Hurricanes. Let's check out their lineup. The Hurricanes are another team that we're yet to play against in this franchise mode series, but they look pretty good. Jarvis, Aho, and Svechnikov on that top line. Svechnikov, 4 goals, 8 points in their first round that they won in 6 games. Woo! Aho, 5 goals and 11 points. And Jarvis had 4 points there on that first line. Evan Rodriguez, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, and Tom Wilson on the second line. All right, 7 points from Wilson. Logan O'Connor, Phil the King Danault, one of my favorite players in the NHL. 3 points from the defensive mastermind, and Lawson Krause on that third line as well. Hayes, Johansson, and Martinick on the fourth line. Defensively, Slavin and Dumba on the top pair. Not big point scorers, but solid plus minuses and a ton of minutes. They're eating all kinds of minutes, yeah, of course. Second pair, Hanifin and Trouba, who's playing with a playable injury, and Clifton and Schmidt on the third pair. Goaltending, it is Kochetkov at 89 overall. Wow. Crazy numbers in that first round as well for him. 4-1-1 was his record with a shutout, 924 save percentage, and 2.45 goals against average. In the regular season, I believe he won at least one Vezina. In the regular season, I believe he won the Vezina last year. Still good numbers this year, but yeah, Kochetkov, 7 shutouts on the season as well. 70 games played. My goodness, this is going to be probably one of the tougher matchups that we've seen goaltending-wise. But keep in mind, last season we made it through Shesterkin, Vasilevsky, and Sorokin. So hopefully we can make... there you go. Hopefully we make it through Kochetkov as well. Martin Necas, currently out with an injury. He was injured in Game 5, I suppose. He had 5 assists in 5 games. That's a big 88 overall presence out of the lineup. So let's check out the injury report to see how long he is out. Today is May 3rd. He's out until May 7th, so not too long at all. Probably just the first couple games. A sore knee for Necas. So the team is already looking very good. That first line, I'm assuming it would be Necas, Aho, and Svechnikov, all players who are point per game plus. So that will be a scary, scary first line. Good top pair defense and very strong starting goaltender for the Hurricanes, who took down the Blue Jackets in 6 games and now face us. Maple Leafs and Lightning in the other series over in the East. Avalanche Blues and Oilers Kings over in the West. I think it also goes without saying that we will start round number 2 with Blackwood as our starter. 2 games played, 862 save percentage as we saw earlier. I'm hoping that a couple of good performances will really boost up his numbers because really, as I said, it was one really bad performance, one pretty good performance. Let's see a couple of solid solid games at home to start round number 2 in Pittsburgh, and then we can make a more informed decision moving forward. All I know for sure is that we got to make sure we keep scoring, because goaltending as of right now is not a guarantee. The 57-20-5 Penguins against the 45-30-7 Hurricanes. We won in 7, they won in 6. They have a little bit of extra rest, but we are hosting them in Pittsburgh for game 1 of round 2. First period, 2-2 after 20. Berkeley Catton scores his first 2 goals of the postseason within 5 minutes of each other. Catton for us, Schwesch for them, Catton for us again, then Tom Wilson. He looks great on that second line. Shots 10-8 for the Hurricanes after 20. Second period, 4-4. Philippe Danault, back and forth this whole game. Philippe Danault for the Hurricanes, then DeBrincat ties it up. Schwesch for the Hurricanes, his second, then Draisaitl ties it up just like 9 seconds after him. 4-4 after 40. Shots are 22-19 for the Hurricanes, and we have a tie game into the final 20 minutes. Neither goaltender looking sharp after allowing 4 goals on like 20-ish shots each. Halfway through this third period, we're still pretty tight in the shots, but Draisaitl gets his second to put us ahead 5-4, and Sidney Crosby gets his first of the postseason. We're up by 2 with just about 5 minutes to go now. Draisaitl's first and second goals, the fourth, the tying goal, and then the go-ahead goal, and it ends up as the game winner, and how about a hat trick as he adds an empty netter. The game-tying, game-winning, and then empty net goal for Leon Draisaitl. 7-4 Penguins the final. That was a tight one. 3 goals and an assist for Leon, a goal and an assist for DeBrincat, and those first 2 goals for Berkeley Catton in the first period to get him third star honors, and we will win this one by a score of 7-4. Erik Karlsson has a sore knee and will be out for about a week. So that'll bring Pickering back into the lineup to play with Ty Smith on the third pair. Let's check this out. How is Ty Smith looking through his first couple games? 1 assist in that first game here against the Hurricanes. All right. So Pickering back in the lineup. Got to fix up the special teams, as I won't want him playing on the power play. Does have a 0. If I swap Zadorov and Smith, +1, -1. Yeah, we'll keep it like this. All right, so let's move ahead to game number 2 now. Once again, allowing more goals than I would have liked. 4 goals and like 20-some shots. That wasn't great. Then in the third period, Blackwood was much better. But still, we have to score 7 in that one. We don't want to have to always rely on the goal scoring. But you know what? They've been coming through, and hopefully they can continue that pace, and Blackwood can kind of find his footing. Game 2, round 2, up 1-0 in this series. First period, 2-1 Hurricanes. Morrissey opens up the scoring, then Logan O'Connor, followed by Philippe Danault, make it a 2-1 Hurricanes game after 20. Shots 9-8 in our favor. Second period, 3-2 goal apiece there. Draisaitl tied it up, but then Kevin Hayes down that fourth line, just really deep in the crease there with 27 seconds to go. Tied it back up, restored the Hurricanes lead. We're out shooting the Hurricanes 21-13, but we're down by 1 headed into the third. 3 goals on 13 shots so far for Carolina. Power play Hurricanes killed off, and then Draisaitl ties this game up. Then Tom Wilson scores just about 30 seconds later, 40 seconds after. We're down by 1 again. Power play Hurricanes killed off. 8 minutes to go, still down by 1, but leading in the shots with the into the final 5 minutes. Last time we were here, DeBrincat tied it up for overtime against Ottawa. Power play late! The Hurricanes hang on and take it 4-3. Shots end 29-23. 3 goals is good, but we allow 4 again. Morrissey a goal and 2 assists, and Draisaitl scores twice, but all for nothing. You know what? I think we're going back to Blomqvist. Blackwood, he hasn't been horrible. 854 through 4 games versus Blomqvist, who's 867 through 5 games. Blomqvist kind of just rubbed me the wrong way at the wrong time type of thing. But I think now's the time in the series. If there's ever a time to experiment in the postseason, it's early in the series. So Blomqvist, I'm going to give you game 3 in Carolina. We'll keep everything else as it's been and cross our fingers for a series lead here. We don't want to go down on the road with another game on the road in game number 4 to come. So here we are at PNC Arena. Draisaitl has 17 points, goal per game through 9 games. Let's try and keep that scoring up, and hopefully Blomqvist, a little time on the bench, will do him well. First period, 0-0 after 20 shots, 12-11 in our favor. Second period, 1-1. Lundstrom on the power play to open it up, but then Sveshnikov on the power play a couple minutes later, almost exactly. Shots are 24-17 in our favor, but we're all tied at 1, headed into the third period in what may kind of be a must-win game for us. Going down 3-1 would not be an easy comeback. We're getting the shots on net, 33-20. Power play at the halfway point, and Leon Draisaitl. Goal per game pace continues 10-10, but Kotkaniemi ties it back up. Final 5 minutes to go now. Shots 36-24 for Pittsburgh. Final 2 minutes with this game tied. We're headed to overtime. Shots are 38-25 for Pittsburgh, but we're all tied up at 2. Overtime here in Carolina. My apologies, I was totally misspeaking for the first minute there at the end of the simulation. It's not 2-1 for the Hurricanes right now. Marcy's shot is blocked through traffic. It would be 2-1 if the Hurricanes were to win, and then if we lost again, losing both games in Carolina, then we'd be down 3-1. This series is tied at 1. Next player to score will put his team up 2-1 in this second round. Aho in front, Jarvis! Wow, great blocker save from Blomqvist as he's sprawled across to make that one. Jarvis once again in tight, and Blomqvist will hang on this time. 2 big saves from Blomqvist early in overtime. Zadorov regains possession, very nice. Crosby circles back, hold on, power play coming out, penalty to the Hurricanes, not sure what that was for. Crosby across to Malkin, extra attacker coming on, but then we'll lose possession, no problem. Power play now would be 2-4, interference to Lawson Krause. Let's see it here. Krause, oh yeah, a little bit. He hits him in the back of the head. A little shove in the back of the head. Good call, ref. Very good. Power play now for the Penguins. Offensive zone draw for Gino. Second unit is out. Malkin wins it back to Lundstrom. Across to Rust from the point. Glove save Kochetkov. Rust, board pinned in his own zone. Classic. Happens every power play, right? Catton, Lundstrom. Now here's Gensel leading the charge back into Carolina territory. Gensel across to Malkin. Back to Catton, and his shot is blocked. Catton up to Gino. Here comes Malkin with 20 seconds to go on the power play. Malkin to Gensel. Piece of the glove, and Malkin on the rebound scores! Evgeny Malkin, his 7th of the postseason, and Gino wins it in overtime on the power play. Weird play. Gensel took a shot. I guess Kochetkov's glove got a piece of it, but it landed right in front of him for a juicy rebound, and Malkin pounced on it to give the Penguins the victory here in game number 3 to go up 2-1. Yeah, shot on net. The defenders didn't know what they were doing there. Schmidt and Clifton looked lost, and Gino took advantage. Penguins win. Penguins win. Shots in that one ended 44-30, so finally probably our best goaltending performance of the postseason so far. That puts us up 2-1 in this series. I don't think we have anything to change headed into game number 4. I would love to see a 3-1 series lead headed back to Pittsburgh, but the Hurricanes, after losing a tight one in overtime, all these games have been pretty tight, will definitely be coming back with a vengeance. First period of game number 4, 0-0 after 20 shots, 13-8 in our favor. Lawson Krause opens it up. He took the penalty that caused us to score that power play goal to win it last game, so he gets a little bit of retribution there. And the second period ends 2-0 as Blomqvist adds another. As Blomqvist allows a goal 55 seconds into the period, and then with 59 seconds left in the period, 2 backbreakers. Shots are 20-17 in our favor through 40 minutes, but we are down 2-0 here. The scorers have gone quiet here. Our top guys, Draisaitl, goal per game can't go forever. We got to give him some support out there. I'm looking at those third liners. I'm looking at DiMaio in the bottom 6. Lawson Krause on the power play. Who's taking penalties? When I'm calling out inspirational performance. Delay of game from Rust. When I'm calling out for inspiration. 4-0. Okay, call it. 4-1. Great. Jake Neighbors scores with 52 seconds left. At least he has a little bit of passion in him. Come on. 4-1 after we worked so hard for that win. 4-1 loss. We score 1 goal from Jake Neighbors on the 4th line with under a minute to go when it means nothing. And Jake Gensel has an injured shoulder, of course. I even put the slider down. After the regular season, I said that's enough injuries, 12 on 100. I'm going to put the slider down to 10 on 100. Carlson out. Gensel out. Ridiculous. So now we got to find someone to come up to the first line. I guess Catton will come back to the first line. We'll keep the second line as it's been. The first line gets its +5 back. DiMaio can get the +2 on the third line, and then I guess Nord will come back for the 4th line. And then Robinson can come back in on the 4th line, and I guess he can play right wing. They're all left-handed shooters, but I think Robinson's been there more often. So cool. Robinson, Smith, Neighbors on the 4th line. So there we go. Just adapt. That is the name of the game. AHL lines don't care since the season is over. Why are you stopping my life to make me do things? And let me guess. Now, everything was good, but now it says extra lines no. Everything was good, no problem. Now the shootout lines. Okay, make sure I go and fix the shootout lines in the middle of the postseason where there's no shootout, or else I can't move forward. Here you go. Graves can shoot first on the shootout. Doesn't even exist anymore. Oh my goodness. Okay, I just keep getting more and more upset that there's no preset of lines in franchise mode. 10 goals and 19 points for Draisaitl through 11 games, and Erik Karlsson is fully healed. Why would I have a moment of peace at any moment, right? So at least it's someone coming back as opposed to someone leaving the lineup. But Pickering will bow out and Karlsson will draw back in. Okay, that's all done. We're ready for game number 5 now, with this series tied at 2. Leafs up 3-1 over the Lightning, 3-1 Avalanche over the Blues, and 3-1 Oilers over the LA Kings. Oilers and Avalanche would be quite the Western Conference final. All right, game 5 here in Pittsburgh. It is a best of 3 now. Gensel out, Karlsson in. Let's see how Catton does in that top line, and hopefully the scoring can come through and Blomqvist can keep it to 2 or 3 goals against. This is how it should be. 2 or 3 goals against from Blomqvist, 3 or 4 goals scored by our offense. That is what we're capable of doing. That is what we do on average. That is what we know how to do. Let's do it. First period, 2-1 Penguins. Ekblad opens it up. Kotkaniemi ties it right back about 10 minutes later. But then Eric Robinson, with 7 seconds to go, he's back in the lineup, and he makes an impact right away. Shots 13-10 after 20. Second period, 3-1 as DiMaio extends our lead to 2. Shots are 28-20, and now we're up 3-1. This is what we want to be seeing. Hurricanes power play, that's killed off. One of the best special teams in the entire NHL. This is how we should be doing it. Kill off the penalties, score on the power play. That's what Sidney Crosby just did. We're up by 3 here at the halfway point. Make it up by 4 as Jason Zucker makes it 5-1. Shots are pretty even, but this has been a very, very good showing from Blomqvist. Thank you very much, and we'll go up 3-2 in this series with a 5-1 victory in game number 5. Shots end tied at 38, but Blomqvist stood on his head to make 37 saves. First star honors for him, very well deserved, as Ekblad and DiMaio get second and third star respectively with a goal and an assist apiece. Who's injured after this one now? Nobody! Hey, look at that. The Avalanche and the Oilers are through the Western Conference Final, and so are the Maple Leafs. Wow, every series ending in 5, except for ours, which will be at least 6, if not 7. So if we win this, we will go on to face the Maple Leafs in the Eastern Conference Final. But here we go for game number 6. No changes to make. We split those 2 games, but now we definitely want to win this one because every other series is done. Everyone is resting at home. We're the last series to get over and done with. So we really want to be done ASAP so that we're not playing too many more games than everybody else. Game 6 in Carolina to end it. Here we go. First period, 1-0 Penguins as Alex DeBrincat putting us up 1-0 with what looks like a snipe from the blue line. Shots 11-9 for the Hurricanes after 20. Second period, Dumba scores early, 16 seconds in. Second period ends 2-2 as Kotkaniemi gives the Hurricanes lead, but then DeBrincat again, his second of the game, ties it up at 2. Both our goals coming from the Cat. Shots are 24-18 for the Hurricanes, but we're tied at 2. 20 minutes away from the Eastern Conference Final. The Hurricanes want to push it to 7, and there's Kotkaniemi scoring his second of this game. Power play, Penguins killed off by the Hurricanes. Now the power play for Carolina back the other way, killed off by the Penguins. Halfway point, we're down by 1, down by 2 now, as Martinook scores to make it a 4-2 game. Final 5 minutes. We're not done yet, but we need something fast here as the minutes are ticking away. And there you have it. We're off to 7, ladies and gentlemen. We are off to 7 for the second consecutive series. Shots end 34-30 for the Hurricanes. And we drop this one. Kotkaniemi scores 2 goals. Kochetkov made 28 saves. DeBrincat scored 2. They were the only 2 that we scored. And we are off to game number 7. As per usual, the question must be asked, do we want to make any changes headed into this do-or-die Game 7? Win, and we're through to face the Maple Leafs in the Eastern Conference Final. Lose, and we go home. First line, how have we been looking? 3 goals, 8 assists, +6 for Catton. Lovely. Draisaitl amazing. DeBrincat great. Second line looking good. Crosby solid enough. Rust has slowed down. 23 penalty minutes? What? Zucker, Lundstrom, DiMaio, 5 points, -7. What? What's up on the fourth line? -3, -3, -2. Oh, man. Do we do something crazy like Lundstrom up to play with Crosby and Malkin, and DiMaio can center the third line with Zucker and Rust? Yeah, I'm going to say let's do it. Defense, +4, +7, +1, +2, -4, -3. Of course, the good old third pair defense. But are we going to bring in Ian Mitchell? Do we do that? Pickering has not looked good, -3 with 1 assist. Do we bring in Ian Mitchell? 84, 88, 84 for his attributes. I'd almost bring Gensel back to the playable injury, but it's just not worth it in EA land. 84, 88, was it something? 83, 86 for Ty Smith. 89, yeah, but Carlson, we need him in there. Maybe Ty Smith comes out for Ian Mitchell. I don't know. Let's just go crazy. We can't look at regular season numbers. We got to think who's actually getting it done right now. Mitchell and Carlson are both right-handed D, but we'll make it work. +1, let's do it. Ian Mitchell, you're in. And goaltending, Blomqvist, you're in there. 891 save percentage. Let's do it. It would be great to bring Gensel back into the lineup with a playable injury, but I wish I knew just how playable it was. There's never like, is it a 2% risk? Is it a 50% risk? It's impossible. I'd rather lose with Gensel out of the lineup than win and have him out for the rest of the postseason. So let's do it. PPG Paints Arena, Game 7, Round 2 here against the Hurricanes. Back and forth this entire series, and it all comes down to this. We need these performers to keep showing up. We need Draisaitl. We need DeBrincat. We need strong defense. I need a good performance from Blomqvist. Game 7, controller down. All comes down to this. First period starting off with a power play for the Hurricanes early on, killed off by the Penguins. Nicely done. Being outshot 7-2 through the first 10 minutes or so. Halfway through the first, we see nothing on either side just yet. Shots picking up a little bit, but heading into the final moments of the first period, the shots will end more than double in Hurricanes' favor. 11-5 through 20 minutes. Second period action now, and DeBrincat starts it off 50 seconds in with a big goal. His 9th of the postseason, I believe. Power play Hurricanes, and Rodriguez comes right back about 4 minutes later. Power play Hurricanes still maintained. What is going on? Super long power play for them. Power play for us killed off. Let me pause this for a second. What was going on here? All right, so it was a tripping minor followed by a hooking major. How do you get a hooking major? What? The hooking major overlapped with the tripping and then became a 5-on-4. That is crazy. Hooking major. Come on. 1-1 with 5 minutes to go. Hurricanes still leading in the shot category. Final minute, and that'll be it for the second. Shots are 21-15 for Carolina, and it all comes down to the third and final period to decide Game 7. The next 20 minutes decides who's going through and who's going home. Who is going to step up for their team? Third period action, let's go. 5 minutes in, nothing coming from anything but Tom Wilson makes it 2-1 Hurricanes. Power play for the Penguins, killed off by Carolina. Shots are 30-19, and Svechnikov makes it a 2-goal lead. But hold on, Evgeny Malkin says we're not done yet. Hold on, we're back within 1. Thank you, Gino. Final 5 minutes of this one. 3 minutes, 2.5 to go, and we'll hop in. The final moments of Game 7. 2:39 to go in this third period, and we're down by 1. Gino Malkin got us back into it. But it all comes down to this. We need a goal to tie in this Game 7. Draisaitl fighting along the boards. Here's Kapanen into Carolina territory. Can't get through Trouba. Lundstrom gonna go 1-on-4 pretty much. And no surprise as he loses the puck. Aho back the other way. Bumped off of it. Morrissey gives it to Slavin. Jarvis to Wilson. Has some space. In front to Aho. Puts it off the post. Now Wilson has it in the corner. He's board pinned by Rust. DeMaio lets it go by him. Slavin. Aho. Jarvis. Big save by Blomqvist. I thought for sure they had that one. Terrible decision by DeMaio. And that turns into a great opportunity on the doorstep for the Hurricanes that Blomqvist shuts down, thankfully. Draisaitl leading the league in points by a mile. But this may be it with 1:15 to go. Third line out. DeMaio at the dot against Evan Rodriguez. DeMaio wins it back to Morrissey. Across to Ekblad. Get it up, big boy. No, don't skate backwards! Morrissey to Zucker. Get it out of your zone. Okay, here's Ekblad now. Let's set something up with 1 minute to go. We're going to pull the goalie now. Ekblad, he's skating in on his own. And I'm going to return the goal. I gotta play this careful. To pull the goalie, return the goalie. Get back in there. Here's O'Connor. Graves gets it back. Nicely done. 50 seconds to go. Zucker up to Rust. No, don't skate backwards! Skate forwards! You can do it! Zucker, come on. He's going to dump that in. Pull that goalie. Come on now. Here's Slavin. Board pinned to Lawson Krause. No, send him back. I don't believe in it. I see it. It's not going to happen. O'Connor, get back in there. Come on, Blomqvist, get back in there. Lawson Krause to Rodriguez. That's blocked. 25 seconds to go. Rodriguez again. He's hit. Come on. We get the face-off finally. At least let's get the first line out there. Come on now. I'm not going to take a timeout. Actually, no. No, I won't take a timeout. It's too late anyways. I won't take a timeout just yet. I'm going to hope for an offensive zone face-off. 23.2 seconds to go. Draisaitl fighting for it. The Penguins come away with it. Now DeBrincat. Let's go. Pull that goalie. We're leaving him pulled this time. DeBrincat in the corner. In front. No, Catton shooting before the puck got to him, and because his AI brain didn't register, it just went by. Draisaitl, huge interception. Final seconds. On net, please. Draisaitl, shoot DeBrincat. On net, Kochetkov makes the save. 1.5 seconds to go. He's even worse taking a timeout at this point. We'll do it, but that was likely our final opportunity. First lines are out. Timeout taken. Goalie pulled. Fourth line out for the Hurricanes. 1.5 seconds to go. We'll need something quick here on the dot. Draisaitl wins it back. Catton, Ekblad, and he doesn't even get the shot off. As the Hurricanes eliminate the Penguins in Game 7 of round number 2. Year 1, we lose in 7 in round number 1. Year 2, lose in 6 in the Stanley Cup final. Year 3, Stanley Cup champions. Year 4, lose in 7 in round number 2. MVP, regular and postseason from Leon Draisaitl. But the goaltending wasn't great, and the scoring depth was not there. The shots ended 38-23 for the Hurricanes in the end. We just didn't have that passion to score, I suppose. We just didn't have that passion. Only Draisaitl carrying up on that top line. Through 14 games, Draisaitl had 10 goals and 24 points. Crazy numbers from the German. DeBrincat, through those 14 games, had 9 goals and 17 points. Malkin, at 40 years of age, was above point per game. Old man power, 15 points, 8 goals in 14 games, but not enough. Gino, 3 point per game plus players, but we can't get it done. Catton, Morrissey, and Ekblad, 2 defensemen, all with 11 points. Russ with 10. Lundstrom scored 8 points in 9 games. Gensel, a bit disappointing, only 3 goals, but 7 points in 11 games. Zucker had 6 points. Crosby, 6 points in 10 games. Neighbors, 5 points in 14 games. DiMaio, -8 with 5 points. The fourth line killed us. Whenever they went out, it was just a black hole, I suppose. Robinson, Graves, Erik Karlsson, 3 assists. He was really not good. Zadorov, Smith, Mitchell, 1 assist in 1 game. There you go. Smith was not good after a career season. Pickering either. Blomqvist ends with a 5-4-1 record, .895 save percentage, and 3.17 goals against average. And that's with his numbers getting better towards the end. Horrible goaltending here. I think, you know what? I said the scoring depth. The scoring depth wasn't horrible. It was the fourth line, and it was the goaltending. That's what did us in. Blackwood had an .854 save percentage and 4.04 goals against. Yeah, goaltending and the fourth line. I don't know what that plus-minus was for them, but those were our 2 problems this season. So after our 4th year here in Pittsburgh, it comes to an end in round number 2. Is that the end for Geno Malkin? Is that the end for Sidney Crosby? We'll see as we simulate towards the draft. We'll get a Stanley Cup champion. We'll check out the hardware. We'll check out the retirements. And we'll wait and see what their decisions are. In the end, the Edmonton Oilers are Stanley Cup champions for the 2nd time in 3 years. Connor McDavid gets it done for the first time without Leon Draisaitl. Let's keep on simulating towards the draft. Minnesota jumps from 4-1. Arizona, with San Jose's pick, jumps from 7-2. Nashville dropping from 1-3. Anything else we want to check out here? Yeah, retired players. All right. Crosby's 39, Malkin's 40. They got their Stanley Cup. They had one last crazy good regular season. Do they want to go for more, or have they had enough? In the 2027 offseason, both Crosby and Malkin call it a career. Same for Alexander Ovechkin, who goes out with 991 goals. Still an 89 overall. He could have stayed. Wow, wow, wow. Sidney Crosby, whose totals are, same for Malkin. Crosby and Malkin, both their totals are skewed a little bit because of the real-world 2022-23 season not being included. We'll check out their full numbers in just a moment, but Patrick Kane also goes out with over 1,500 points. Joe Pavelski, he was, what, 42? Yeah, 42. Giroux, Wheeler. Hey, even Erik Karlsson, I didn't even notice. Erik Karlsson would not have been back next season, but he retires as well, down at a 79 overall. That's a ton of money and 3 roster spots open here. Crosby, Malkin, and Karlsson all retiring. Ben, Couture, Pietrangelo, former Penguin Jordan Staal, former Penguin Ryan Suter, former Penguin in the real world Riley Smith. Anybody else out here? Real world Penguin Lars Eller. Former Penguin in this series Dmitry Orlov. A lot of retirements, wow. Will Marc-Andre Fleury also be retiring here? Let's see. Yes, he does. Wow. Crosby, Malkin, and Fleury all retiring in 2027. Fleury goes out with 2 wins shy of 600. What a career for the Flower. Quick, Holtby, Jones. Wow. Crazy retirement class here. Let's break down all the numbers for Sidney Crosby, who already has crazy numbers, but they would be a little bit crazier if we add in his real-world 2022-23 season. As you can see, he sat out that season because we were trying to tank that year to get the simulation to be accurate. But through his entire career, let's do the calculations. With the simulation numbers plus the real-world numbers taken into consideration, Crosby retires having played 1,516 games, scoring 679 goals and 1,142 assists, for a grand total of the 5th most points in NHL history, 1,821. Sidney Crosby, take a bow. Winning 4 Stanley Cups across 3 decades and a ton of hardware as well. One of the best players in NHL history. I can't look at all the closer numbers while incorporating the 2022-23 real world numbers, but even when taking that into consideration, we can say that he was close to a plus 300 in his career, over 900 penalty minutes, shooting at over 14%. Something like a sixth of his goals were game winners, and more than that coming on the power play. Almost 600 power play points as well. Ridiculous stuff. Averaging over 20.5 minutes of ice time per night. Over 53% on the face-off dot. 1,034 takeaways to 1,139 giveaways. I think you can live with that when you're the 5th highest scorer in NHL history. And then looking at the postseason stats, Sidney Crosby, these will be real numbers because there were no Penguins postseason numbers to add from 2023. So through 238 postseason games, which is the most all-time by a forward, the 3rd most all-time by a skater, and the 4th most all-time in NHL history, Crosby scored 96 goals and 160 assists for 256 points, also in the record books as the 3rd highest postseason scorer in NHL history. A plus 32, shooting at 13.1%, 86 power play points, 12 game-winning goals, averaging 20.41 of ice time per night, 53.25 on the dot. Very similar numbers to his regular season stats. Sidney Crosby, what a career. Goes out at an 85 overall. And Geno Malkin now, let's look at his numbers. 1 year older, drafted a year before Crosby. He goes out as an 82 overall, still very capable. When we crunch the numbers, Malkin retires having played 1,389 games, having scored 585 goals and 937 assists, for a grand total of the 15th most points in NHL history, 1,522. Geno Malkin goes out at around a plus 130, shooting at 13.2%, 490 power play points, averaging 19.21 of ice time per night. Went down in his later years for sure. 44.74% on the dot, sometimes taking those face-offs, as he's listed as a center. Did play a lot of wing, though, in his career. I'm not sure why he's not a center wing. 975 hits, 466 blocks, and 972 takeaways to over 1,100 giveaways. Postseason stats now, these will once again be accurate. 241 games played, 89 goals, 143 assists, and 232 points. Same as Crosby, 4 Stanley Cup rings across 3 decades and lots of hardware. He was a plus 5, shooting at 11.3%. 100 of his 232 points came on the power play in the postseason, 1904 of ice time per night, and 265 hits as well, with very similar other peripheral numbers. So a huge day in Pittsburgh. Numbers 87 and 71 will be joining numbers 58 and 81 in the rafters that we just retired last season. We were brought in here to win one last cup with this core, and that is what we did. Sorry that we couldn't get another one. Sorry that we couldn't get one for Karlsson, but Crosby, Malkin, Letang, they all got one more, and even Phil got thrown in there. Now, moving forward, we have a brand new team. The veterans of Pittsburgh now become the Gensels and the Rusts of the world. So let's keep on simulating towards the draft. And thank goodness, Crosby and Malkin are both coaches, so we'll get them both somewhere in our NHL or AHL staff ASAP. Any coach retirements here in Pittsburgh? No. Down in the AHL? No. All right, so we'll just have to fire someone pretty much here. I will do some draft interviews and then get back in a moment. All right, and now here we are at the draft. Let's take a moment to check out the awards after this season. Actually, also the playoff tree. What ended up happening in the Eastern Conference? In the Eastern Conference Final, the Hurricanes took down the Maple Leafs in 7, but then they fell to the Oilers, interesting, in 5 games as the Oilers won the 2027 Cup. Let's check out the awards here. We're waiting for a lot for Draisaitl. Edmonton wins their 2nd Cup in 3 years. We win back-to-back President's Trophies. We knew that. Hurricanes making their first Stanley Cup final of the simulations so far. Draisaitl wins the Art Ross Trophy, the 2nd of his career, as the sim had him win it in 2022-23, but I wouldn't count that as we only want to look at 2022-23 being a real-world year. Hart Memorial goes to Rantanen! No Hart for Draisaitl as Rantanen takes it. Oh, that's too bad. James Norris goes to Quinn Hughes. Lady Byng to Alex DeBrincat. Hey, look at that. Lady Byng to the 100-point scorer. Calder goes to Caswell on the Kings. Conn Smythe goes to Zach Hyman. Wow. Vezina to Kochetkov. Back-to-back Vezinas for him. Jennings goes to Blomqvist and Blackwood, though. That's Blackwood and Blomqvist 2nd time sharing that award. Very nicely done. Peake wins the Bill Masterton. The coach of the Senators wins the Jack Adams. Lindholm wins the Selke. Draisaitl wins the Ted Lindsay at least. And the Maurice Richard. So Draisaitl comes away winning the Art Ross, the Maurice Richard, and the Ted Lindsay, while the Jennings goes to Blomqvist and Blackwood, and the Lady Byng goes to DeBrincat. Not a bad year for the hardware. Anything down here in the AHL for the Penguins? No. I'm just curious where Draisaitl ended in the entire postseason scoring. He was still up there, yeah? Zach Hyman, though, with 29 points, led the way. McDavid had 28. He had like 40-something when they won the Cup last time. So there you have it. Tavares 25 and 17 on the Maple Leafs. He did a great job for them. Another team that didn't make it to the Stanley Cup final, but had a player all the way at the end. But Draisaitl losing in round number 2, still amongst the highest scorers. That's crazy. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. A lot to think about headed into the offseason, into year number 5. We definitely want to get Crosby and Malkin onto the coaching staff. Grossman's been very good. We have barely talked about our head coach, but this guy's been very good for us. Pete Grossman, 238, 145, and 27 in his career. 1 cup, 2 President's Trophies, 61.3 winning percentage. We're very happy with him. And the rest of our staff is signed on pretty long term, so it would have to be firing somebody. Our entire staff, no one's lower than a B-. So maybe we could get Kessel. He's already associate coach. Maybe a full AHL staff of Shea as the head coach, then Kessel, Crosby, and Malkin as associate, assistant, and goalie coach. And then from there, as they improve in overall to B, B-, whatever, then they can start to bump out guys like Hall and Foucale, maybe even Carpenter from their job. So let me know your thoughts on the coaching, but what we really want to have thoughts on is the off-season contract situation here, because we are going to have like 30, I want to say. Yeah, $32.165 million to play with. Graves getting extended, I think that would be great for us. I'd love to have him in the top 4, excuse me. Zucker probably walks. These older veterans probably walk now. Mitchell, I'm indifferent. Robinson, I'm not sure, depending on his price tag. Smith, same thing, price tag type of thing. You know, these are depth guys, though. I'm thinking about the big names. Pickering is still at a 77. He hasn't grown. Meanwhile, I saw that Catton, yeah, he's up to an 85. So when we think about the lineup next season, I'll go look at pending free agents in just a moment. But if we think about our forwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that could be our top 6. I wouldn't mind Rust being a third liner from now on, but could Lundstrom be our full-time second line center? It's possible. He's still only making $0.95 million next year, so maybe Lundstrom is second line center. Third line, I'd probably think DiMaio is out there. Then there's Smith, maybe Neighbors. That's about it, though, because we want to have Jaeger up in the lineup. Hopefully he can grow enough to be in there. Maybe Sasha Aub is someone who wants to be pushing for the lineup. Who knows? Bartasak, Lind. Offseason growth could mean anything. Even maybe Noel Nord becomes someone who comes back in our lineup. Defensively, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This could be our top 6 next year. We could keep Mitchell, and then Ty Smith's up to an 82. Maybe second pair is Graves and Zadorov. Third pair is Smith and Mitchell. We could do that, but again, we'll have money to spend. And then for the goaltending, Blomqvist now up to an 85 as Blackwood stays at an 84. So we could survive without doing much, but we'll have so much money. Give Graves $5 million, spend a few million elsewhere. We'll still probably have something like $20 million to look at maybe a second line center. Depends on Lundstrom, a second line forward. And if we wanted, probably a second pair defenseman as well. If we just look at upcoming year UFAs, first starting with the forwards, sorting by overalls, potential UFAs who are out here. Kubalik, Lehkonen, Bertuzzi, Batherson. I could see Bertuzzi being a good fit. Stone, Hall, Mikheyev, Marchessault, Patrick, Stevenson, O'Reilly. Velarde is interesting. Veleno, Carlson, Dano. Yeah, if I'm really thinking who would I say are the top targets, I think Bertuzzi could be a good second-line winger for us. Not a lot of center options for us, unfortunately. If we look at the defenseman who may be out there, Quinn Hughes, but we don't want to go after him again. Hedman's a bit old. Maybe Vince Dunn, Sam Girard. Yeah, Carlo Marino for Hervery. I could see a good second pair defenseman being available for us. But the question is, who do we go after? Goaltending, just if you're curious. Carter Hart, Kachetkov, Gibson, Demko, Husso, down the list there. So a few different options there for who we'd re-sign and who we'd possibly be going after. Looking at growth in our system this year, Morrissey up to a 91. Lundstrom had great growth. He was one of probably the best waiver pickup in franchise mode channel history. Morrissey 91, Catton 85, DeBrincat 91. We saw all of that. Ekblad also even at an 89. Looking in the system, though, some of these prospects down here. Landon Fenton up to a 70. He has low elite potential. Some of these medium elite guys, good, who are like 48 overall. Now they're up to 50s and 60s. Very, very good. Baker up to a 59. Lashoff, Petrel only grew from a 71 to a 72, I think. Or maybe he was in the 60s to start the year, though. I want to see Lind and Jaeger cracking the NHL next season. Come on now. At the very least, Lind first-line center in the AHL and Jaeger up to the NHL. That's really my hope. And finally, we can think about potential draft picks in the 2027 draft. We will have the 28th overall pick in the first round, and then the 28th overall pick in the third round, somewhere near the late 80s. So pick 28, and then late 80s, early 90s, unless we were to make some trades. Looking at the class out here, I didn't really scout the top guys, because I knew we wouldn't be getting them. But we see some medium elites here at the top. If we, hold on, medium elite here at 12. Ooh, maybe 14 even, a gem. Caden Davison, 3 years away, but a medium elite gem. Interesting. Further down the list, we see the typical things here. Medium top 6 forwards who are probably in the 60 overall range. Medium top 4 defenseman. Medium elite goalie here, Zachary Shields, 5 years away, probably not worth that high of a pick. And continuing on, yeah, some low elites, medium elites here. Another medium elite in Pierce Maloney, 5 years away, a goalie again. This guy, Cato, Guillermo Cato, 3 years away, low elite. And then another low elite, Nordqvist, Nicholas Nordqvist, 4 years away, low elite. Yeah, there's some good value out here. I'm seeing some elites. Another medium elite goalie here. Actually, what if I just look at goalies? If we look at goalies, anyone who's not 5 years away, everyone 5, 4 years away for this guy, low backup though. So any medium league goalie that we get would be 5 years away. So we can go ahead and take one of the later ones, right? No need to wait and no need to pounce on one early when it's not necessary. Even a couple here. 4 years away, 5 years away. These later guys, Frederick Jorgensen, who's a gem. Yeah, we'll definitely get at least one, if not two, medium league goalies, I would think, in this draft. We have very few goalies in our system. We only got one last year. So I think we take probably two medium elite goalies in this draft, but we'll just have to see when those picks would be. Aside from that, if we look at just the skaters, I'm sure there's a lot of good elite value out here. Medium elite right here at 72, Dmitry Smirnov, 2 years away at 19 years old. Yeah, we'll definitely want to go after him. And then I'm sure a good number of low elites. Okay, good to know. Also looking at players who are NHL ready, which means their overalls are already like 76, 77 or higher. Keith Boynton here, ranked at number 11, is listed as NHL ready. But it looks like everyone outside of the top 10 is at least 3 years away. So no crazy late gems who are going to be 70 or 78 overall or anything like that, it looks like. Yeah. Well, hold on. 1 year away. Who's this guy? Dylan Palapuz. Let's go ahead and pin him just for fun. Ranked 44th. He's 18, 5'9", A+ shooting, and 1 year away. That could be interesting. Okay. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Year number 4 comes to an end with a Game 7 exit in round number 2. Huge retirements around the entire NHL, but 3 on our squad as Crosby, Malkin, and Carlson all call it a career here in 2027. Headed into year number 5, this team will definitely be looking different. So I'm looking forward to reading all your thoughts down here on YouTube or over on the Discord server. What should we be doing for our coaching staff, for our current contracts, for potential free agents, for the draft? A lot to think about headed into the 2027 offseason. So if you haven't joined the team already as an assistant general manager, we need you in the AGM's booth. Leave a comment. Be sure that you're subscribed. You don't want to miss out on any of these uploads. It's a great community, a strong team, but it'll be that much better with you as a part of it. Leave a like if you enjoyed this postseason. And I'm looking forward to what the future will bring with Draisaitl now leading the way in Pittsburgh. What do you think about captaincies as well? We can start thinking about that. Now that all 3 of Crosby, Malkin, and Letang are gone, we got to think about captaincies. We go with 3 alternates, even X-Factor thoughts, all of that down in your comment. Can't wait to read it, and I can't wait to see you again in the next one. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you there.